So yeah, my name is Tamara. For everyone who's watching this, nice to meet you all virtually. I am a meditation teacher and a life coach located in San Diego. And I believe it's my mission and my purpose to heal people. Um, Hi, Patrick. It's probably evening where you are, so good evening. Um, Yeah, and so I was put on this path through, I think, like for most people, we go through difficult and dark times, and then we experience enlightenment. So that's where I found out I'm supposed to be who I am today. And I'm not done with the journey, so there's a long way ahead, and I'm excited for it. Ups and downs, right? But always heading forward.
Totally. I feel like we could dive into like a whole 6-hour conversation about the
Yeah,
darkness and moving into the enlightenment. Yeah.
that's another life.
Yeah. Welcome everybody who's just joining us. So we're going to talk about play and really what that means as adults. And I'm honestly just really excited to ask Tamara about her life because to me, she is someone who is so full of joy and I'm excited to learn her secrets. So stick around. So I'll introduce myself quickly. My name is Faolan, and I'm a coach, and I'm writing a book all about kind of what Tamara was talking about, this healing journey of coming from the darkness, moving into the light, and then finding the ability to bring joy and play into our daily work as human beings, and kind of offering our gifts and finding really intense and immense joy in that. So yeah, so we're just gonna get started from here. It looks like we have a few people in the audience. Welcome.
Hi, Kelly. She is
So,
a big playful girl too. She should join
mm,
us next time.
yeah, please. I would
Yeah,
love that.
but yeah, let's get it started.
So, just to get started, I want to ask you maybe an easy question, maybe a hard question. What does the word play mean to you?
I had the same question for you.
That's perfect.
I think playfulness or playing or play is just really connecting to your inner child. Like
Mm,
really thinking back on how you had fun as a child, where there was no judgment and no like social conditioning, really, but it came from your heart. Like
mm.
all the things you did, like building caves, right, with blankets, for
Yes,
example,
yes.
playing on the street, like running, roller skating with your friends on the street, being on playgrounds, playing with mud. Like what brought you joy, what brought you fun, and like really going back, like taking a moment and going back to your childhood and thinking about what made you be in this flow state where you just
Mm,
lost time, because that's a sign that you're having fun. So I
totally.
think that's the definition, and then we can dive deeper into how I play. But I'd like to know from you as well what your definition of playfulness is.
Yeah, I think mine is a little bit darker potentially, but basically for me, what play is, and welcome to everyone who's joining us. Thank you, Alana. Happy to talk about this. For me, play has to do as an adult with connecting to that inner child, like you're talking about. And I think that that comes with this potential danger of can we connect to our inner child, inner children in a way that is authentic and in a way that is healed? Because often our inner child is kind of the part of us that holds a lot of our pain. And so connecting to that inner child without doing the healing work and the inner work to move past that pain can actually be a really intensely challenging experience. And I think that part of play is knowing that it can be really challenging and doing it anyway. So for me, play is putting yourself in the position to be hurt, like putting yourself in a vulnerable
Mm,
position in order to experience like the fullness of right now as your true
mm.
self. And it's a really big definition. So there's a lot in
It's
there.
deep. It's deep
Yeah.
too. But I love it. That's a good point because, yeah, we are all wounded. And I feel like play too helps us though to work through those
Mm,
wounds really and heal us as well. So it's part of that healing process as well.
yeah.
Um,
Can you dive into that? I want to know more what you mean because I think you're right.
Well, all the ways I play, I feel so connected to who I truly am, like more connected to my heart and to who I am. And Kelly is writing an uninhibited creative freedom, connecting me to source, essence, and love. Yeah, let's ask the people here maybe, what's your
Mm,
definition of playfulness? Because we want to make this really engaging and interactive too. So please, guys, just give us your input. We're really curious to get to know you better and understand other people's view on this as well. So thank you,
yeah.
Kelly, for your input.
So, Tamara, something you said, um, my bad.
The definition just gave me anxiety.
Well, I think that you probably have a really good perspective as someone with a kid, Alana. So maybe, I mean, I think for me, the part that's really funny about leading this Instagram live about playing for me is that it's something that I don't think I was very good at until recently. Um, and kind of always I kept myself as this very serious person. And I thought that seriousness was the way to find what is important in life. But then I realized that I was missing out on having fun with being alive, and that, what's the point of being here if not to enjoy it? So,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe there's a difference between joy and play. Um, and I think maybe for me, the definition is more of joy. And then maybe we can talk about play as something different than that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of goes back to this thing that you were talking about with play being part of the thing that helps us heal, and one of the things we can do to help ourselves heal. So, thank you, Rohan. So,
Yeah.
Tamara, what are your thoughts about like healing yourself through play? Because you mentioned that, and I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. Um, so I think what might help here is to just mention how I play,
Hmm,
and then
please.
I can explain how that's healing. So, I mean, like you said too, before I dive into that, it's really, we only live once, and why living it seriously, right? You have the choice to walk around with a long face, or you have the
Hmm,
choice to walk around with a smiling face. So, what do you personally prefer? Do you want to be
yeah.
surrounded and encounter people with the long face or the smiling face, right? And I get it. As we grow older, we have more and more responsibilities. Life kind of gets more seriously, like automatically. So it's our responsibility, though, to also harness that fun and play and
Hmm,
joy that we had as children. And I don't mean be a child, but be childlike and do the things that brought you joy. And maybe they look differently now than when they looked back in childhood. Like for me as a kid, I would draw a lot. I would be very like crafty, like kinesthetic and visual, and I'm still like that. Um, so being crafty really helps me to um,
so creating.
creating in general. Yeah,
Hmm,
creativity is a big part of playfulness, I feel like.
hmm,
And
I
that's
agree.
bringing me joy and fun, just the process of creating something. And we were all born creative beings.
Yeah,
And some people forget over the years and they neglect that side, that part within them that's
yeah,
you know just part of them.
totally. So I just want to dive into this for a sec,
Yes, please.
and then we'll get to these comments in this chat. But so this creativity being
Ooh.
intrinsic to play, I think is so important. And if when I think about kids and how they play, I think as adults we often cite imagination as this childlike thing, but imagination only goes so far because a lot of kids imagine stuff, but then they bring that imagination out into the world. And I think that that's what creativity is, right? Is having a vision inside and then bringing it out into the world. And play potentially is that, right? And enjoying the process of bringing that creativity out into the world. So that's really cool, and I like that. And yeah, and we
Oh,
can,
okay. Let's here. There's an interesting question I would like
yeah.
to touch on. Phelan, do you feel the 9 to 5 kills joy in life? What do you
Um,
think about that?
hmm. I don't think it has to, but I think that for a lot of people it does.
Hmm.
Tamara, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I have a lot of thoughts around that because who's asking that? Rohan, is that your name? Rohan? Do you
Rohan, yeah.
Rohan? So I just left my 9 to 5. I was actually laid off, and I
Woo!
felt, yeah, I felt free like a bird. People were like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear," and then other people were like, "Congratulations!" And it's again a choice, right? So I decided to go with congratulations and stepping into a higher version of myself.
Mm,
So I guess joy also is brought into our lives by stepping into who we truly are and being authentically us, like being authentic with our values. So that's where I have been moving into more and more ever since I got laid off because I personally thought, yeah, the 9 to 5 is, I felt trapped. It was soul sucking, it was
yeah.
understimulating. It made me feel small and limited. And ever since I've been out, it's like so many things are suddenly unfolding. And I'm curious to hear, Rohan, what makes you ask that question? Are you thinking about leaving your 9 to 5? Do you feel like it's killing your joy? Do you feel unhappy in your job right now?
So I can give some context because I know
Yes.
him.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
thinking about going into a 9 to 5 next year after graduating from college.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Um,
And I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, as a graduating senior from college, like, what do you recommend to people? And maybe there's a way to integrate this with kind of stability versus playfulness. And I think if we think about playfulness as choosing an authentic direction, right? And towards like creativity and towards bringing out our imagination into life, what does that feel like for you?
I think it all comes down to balance, right? Like having a balance between play, but also our responsibilities.
Hmm.
And same with like the 9 to 5. Yes, it brings us security, but also you want your freedom. You know, we have this need, like I learned from Tony Robbins, we need certainty, but at the same time, we need uncertainty.
Yeah.
So it's really about finding the balance. Um, I don't know about you, Rohan, but when I went to college, I felt like that's just something everybody does. So I did it as well. And people kept asking me, what are you going to do afterwards? What are you going to do afterwards? And I never knew because I didn't know myself.
Hmm.
So I think if you have these questions, um, it's time to sit down, reflect, and go on a self discovery journey because that was a life changer for me. And once you understand your weaknesses, your strengths, and what brings you joy and passion, and how you can help the world, but also make money at the same time, that's what really will light up your soul, and that's what will bring you security, but also joy, because you want both. Um,
Hmm.
it can't harm to start off with a 9 to 5, really. It's up to you. Like, what's your personality? Do you see yourself? Do you need that routine, or do you want more flexibility and you see yourself being an entrepreneur? And if so, do you have ideas and what would really be aligned with who you are? So that's the whole process, and we're both happy to support you with that if you feel like. Um,
Yeah, and great point,
what's
Lana. The
what's
awareness, bringing awareness to your desire to play
Yes,
and to your desire to integrate yourself well with a 9 to 5 makes it so much better. Well,
totally.
actually,
Awareness is
I
key.
don't know. I've never had a 9 to 5, but I would assume.
Yeah, and that comes down again to personality, right? You probably don't have the personality. I was raised with a really German dad, and he was all
Mm,
about security and safety. And just the
yes.
way my previous generations were living it, they all had like 9 to 5. So that's everything I knew. And my friends would go into 9 to 5s, and I'm like, wait, is this really like I got laid off or fired 6 times in my life, I think. So
Mm.
it dawned on
Can
me
I
like maybe
dig into
that's
this a
not
little
the
bit?
right path. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I want to like tie this back to play. So when you
Please.
talk about your background, um, as someone who what like stability was really important for you, how did you kind of grow into this playful you that you are? Like, what was your journey into learning how to play?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I think the stability allowed me to play.
Mm,
Hmm.
I like
So
that.
yeah, we need both.
Yeah.
I think feeling so safe where I was grown up, like my dad, my parents provided that
Mm,
safety net and that home. And I mean, my siblings and I were just outside and playing on the streets all day long, surrounded by tons of people. And um, yeah, being outside, out in nature allows,
mm,
and that's also another type of school, right? That's where kids grow and learn.
yeah.
And same with adults now. Yeah, we grow and learn in a 9 to 5, but outside of that, like traveling or exploring yourself, that's that's what makes us really expand even more, I would say, from my own experience.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just curious for you, because this is something I really am just wanting to know for myself, very selfishly, but what are the ways that you play in your life? Like actual specific things that you do?
So I have a morning ritual. Yes, fun is key to success. I agree, Kelly.
Yeah.
So I have a morning ritual, and I do the 5 M's, I call it.
Mm,
So I start meditating, and then I do some mindset, for example, affirmations. And then I call it magic. So I just say thank you to the universe,
cool.
just praying, basically, you could
Yeah.
say. And then I move my body in whichever way. And the
Mm,
last thing is meal prep. So creating healthy, nourishing food. And this
hmm.
is just how I set myself up for the day. And then during the day, there are several ways, really. Like when I'm in my car, I sing and I have the best horrible voice. So I just, express myself through my voice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the way I sound. I like also, what else do I do? I like surfing. Surfing is
Mm,
really fun, playing with the wave like dolphins. That's super fun. Like I said, crafting, being creative, being goofy throughout the day, and really, and that I think that's an important thing. We have this inner critic that we listen to many, many times, and it creates negative thoughts and negative emotions. So to balance that off, I let my inner coach speak.
mm.
And sometimes I say it out loud, and I'm just really, really goofy. And whatever I have to say to myself, I say it in a goofy voice. And
Ah,
I acknowledge myself. Like I really give myself high fives or a pat on the shoulder. I'm like, good job, Tamara. Or I change
can you
my
give us your
voice.
best goofy? Yeah, good.
Yeah, just whatever feels, you know, funny in the moment. Maybe get up and dance, move your body in
Hmm.
a funny way or maybe sensual way as well.
Hmm.
So there are many ways really
Yeah,
to be playful. Doing
agreed.
cartwheels on the beach, that's a big one for me too. And that's something I harvest from my childhood.
Mm, cool.
How
That's
about
awesome.
you, Phelan? And how about you people in the
Yeah,
story? Share with us how
welcome,
you like to play.
please. Yeah, and welcome everyone who's just joining. We're talking about play and how we can play in our lives. Okay, so for me, like I said earlier, I didn't think that I was very good at playing before. I read a lot of books, I meditated a lot, I like sat in nature, all things I really enjoyed, but I didn't have that childlike joy, I think, until pretty recently.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big turning points for me was doing psychedelics for the first time.
Mm.
That just like opened my eyes to what playing could be, I guess. Um, and then since then, I've kind of tried to integrate that feeling of it's really hard to describe, but you kind of described it as the flow, where you like lose track of time, and I think that that's part of it. And then there's also this just true joy that I see in myself. Like for example, when I'm brushing my teeth, I
Mm-hmm.
usually like put on music either on headphones or a speaker, and then I'll just dance in front of the mirror. And
Love
I
it.
get so happy. Like I just have this like full face grin when I do that. Or like going swimming in the ocean for me, running. The other day I was babysitting my sister and she just like painted my face and I hadn't done that for years, but it was so
Yeah.
fun. So I think that it's just like getting out of our own way, honestly, and not being so serious, like not
Yeah.
taking ourselves so seriously, and then just
Mm-hmm.
enjoying whatever is happening, right? And
Mm-hmm.
being like, oh, like you want to paint my face? Or actually, it was me. I was like, I want to paint your face. But like just having the freedom and lack of self judgment to really enjoy whatever is going on fully is
Yeah.
for me like this play feeling.
Well, I'm glad you got to that point, and I agree where sometimes we don't allow ourselves to be
Mm.
playful. Like you could have said no to your little who was it,
And I
sister?
used to when I was younger. I always said
Okay.
no to everything. They were like, "Oh, do you want to play?" And I was like, "No, I'm busy."
Yeah.
And I would always like play video games and not really enjoy it, or I
Mm,
would just do things that weren't actually that fun
yeah.
because I like didn't it was took too much energy to like fully engage for some reason. And this is like probably years of therapy to talk about, but I wonder why that is. Like why sometimes it feels like it's hard to play, to let ourselves play.
I think there's a lot of judgment. Sometimes we
Mm,
judge ourselves and we're like, I shouldn't be doing this because I'm an adult now. But I think
mm,
that kids really, or even dogs or pets, remind us to be playful and
yeah.
they invite you to play with them. And yeah, I still like invite people to, um, what's it called, to paint their nails with
Mm.
glitter or like spread my fairy dust all over people.
Well,
And I
this
think
is
that
why I wanted you on this call. Because, like, yeah, you're just so playful, especially for an adult. Like, you're older than I am. I don't know how much, but like, you definitely have kept this.
thanks, Kelly. Thank you, Phelan. Yeah, I wonder what made you become so serious and
Mm.
what made you break through that
I
seriousness
think it's
and make you
exactly what
want
you
to
just
play.
said. Like, that self-judgment of being preemptively judgmental and saying, oh, I can't do this. I'm an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't do this. It's wrong for me because I'm not a kid.
Mm.
That is just ruins so many play dates.
Yeah,
Like, how are you gonna have fun if you can't let yourself have fun?
right.
And like you're saying, just invite people over to do things that are fun, like paint their nails with glitter. That's awesome.
I just wonder, because we were all born playful.
Hmm.
And then what shifted it to being more serious? Because you are still super young.
True.
So what got
Yeah.
like, and I don't think you judged yourself right away. So was there something else that made you become more serious, or did it happen like gradually?
If I have
Can
to
you
look back,
identify?
yeah, I actually have done a lot of work on this, and it's a big part of my book. So when I was younger, like 10, 9, 10, 11, I went to private school, and I remember always playing, always pretending to be knights or wizards with sticks and running around the woods, and just always like being very imaginative and present and playful. And then I switched schools and went to a different middle school where it was just not cool to be like that. There was a lot of judgment
Mm,
around that kind
um,
of play, and there was a lot of bullying and just a lot of pressure to conform
yeah.
to this like cool person, right?
Mm,
Like the athlete or the smart person in school. And so I just felt a lot of pressure to stop being who I was and to start being this new version of myself.
mm,
And that was really hard. And I think that kind of for like, I don't know, 9, 10 years ended up with me in this dark place where I just couldn't really express myself well. Like the only time that I could actually play was when I was really drunk. And I just like had no inhibition. And that was when I could actually let myself enjoy life. But it was at the cost of my health and at the cost of my decision making and all of that. And so I think since since finishing college, I've stopped drinking and I had to figure out how to play again without alcohol.
yeah.
And it's been really, really powerful because I think that a lot of people, a lot of adults rely on alcohol to get
Yeah.
rid of that sense of self-judgment or that
Yeah.
like shrouding of self in order to feel that fun feeling.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and I didn't really expect to like say all of this, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that judgment or inhibitations prevent us from being playful, and alcohol breaks that
Mm-hmm.
barrier, right? But it's obviously not the healthiest way to do that.
Right.
So, what are more healthy ways to do that? And I think it comes down to a lot of creativity, movement, and really, like you said before, like connecting with who you are, really just self-expression,
Mm,
expressing who you are from your
yeah.
true essence, your core, without judgment, without self-judgment, and without like caring about other people's judgment. And obviously being in integrity and being, not harming anyone else while you express yourself and while you're being playful or childlike. um but yeah, really just open your heart, like, and connecting to your true self. Yeah,
Yes.
you're doing it, Phelan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So playing then, I just want to kind of go back and summarize because we're approaching half an hour.
Right.
So I think we started kind of on this journey of talking about play, and then we went down some rabbit holes about like what is not playing, right? Like, is a 9 to 5 not playing? Is judgment not playing? And then what is playing really? And what I heard you just say is it's self-expression at its most pure, open form. And I think that's a great definition. Agreed?
That's great. Yeah, I wasn't aiming for a definition, but I think we
Yeah,
nailed it.
and like Alana said, her son couldn't give a definition, and so maybe that's the magic of it. Maybe we're just trying to define something that can't be defined, and all of the most important things can't be defined, right? Love, God, maybe play.
It's so different for everyone. Everyone's
Mm,
experience is so different. Yeah.
totally. So, from your perspective, what are like one or two takeaways that you want to leave everyone with? I'm putting you on the spot.
I think just reflecting on what brought everyone joy as a kid
Hmm.
and fun, and how to implement that now as an adult into your daily or weekly or even monthly life. Maybe it's, exploring the world, and that you can't do every day. I mean, you can to a certain degree. I think that's like the biggest inspiration that I want people to take away today.
Yeah,
How about
I
you?
agree. I think that's really important. And just as we are coaches, let's get like super specific. Maybe we can give them an activity. So
Okay.
if you want to do this, I would say get out a journal and then write down as many things as you can from when you were a child that you remember really loving to do.
10
And
at
then,
least.
okay, 10 at least.
At
Love
least
that.
10.
And then with those 10 things, try to figure out if any of them still are fun. And you probably haven't done a lot of them in years. So I would just say try them and see if you enjoy them. And if you do, notice what the feeling is that you feel while you're enjoying them and see where else in your
Mm,
adult life you feel that. And then maybe you can even make a list of what as an adult brings you that joy. And then you have kind of this map in your head of like, okay, what are the things that I actually like to do that are playing for me? And those are the things that you can integrate into your routine every day or every week to bring you self-care, because I think playing is really healing, like Tamara said.
yeah, and blocking
Mm,
out the time in your calendar for play as well, not just for all the responsibilities. And yeah, it's challenging to have a son. Challenge is also growth, dear Ilana. So embrace the challenge, lean into it. I know it's uncomfortable and it sucks sometimes, but it means growth on the other side.
mm, cool. Well, thank you, Tamara. It's been so nice to talk to you about this.
Yeah,
And
that was lovely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. That
yeah,
was a
the
fun
time just
little group.
flew,
Oh,
flew.
totally.
I
We
can't
were in
believe that was half an
flow
hour.
because
Yeah,
we
we were
were
playing.
playing.
There we go. The perfect end. All right. Love you all. Thanks for coming. Talk to you soon.
Rest of your day. Bye. Bye, Phelan.
Bye.